we do something a little off the marker? Because this is shorter, but it just came up and well, here, let's just look at it. It's been a minute. Will Smith. Will Smith apologized or did an apology video. I watched the beginning of it and I was like, you know what? We need to kind of talk about this because he does a bunch of things in this that are the opposite of what you do when you apologize. And so maybe it's just a learning experience for all of us. For the record, you do not strike someone over words ever. Not ever, not ever. Yeah. And he finally released this thing after a while, and the beginning of it is just fucking wonky. It's weird. He answers questions posed. They just cut this together, and it goes, and it's number 48 of trends. I didn't like the way it's listed, but let's hear what he has to say. And yeah. It's been a minute. Over the last few months, I've been doing a lot of thinking and personal work. ... So he's pre-tweeting. You asked a lot of fair questions that I wanted to take some time to answer. Why not say that on camera? I don't know. Mm-hmm. Okay. That's him. That's him behind the camera breathing. That right there is an act of ego. Like, all right, I got to do this. This tells you that this is a weight and this is something I got to do, but I'm doing this as an act of strength. Okay, the world is sick. Love is the cure is the poster that's up there. They just need to make something really quick, paint it up, throw it on the wall. Is this the set where they do Jada's show? I don't watch it, so. And by the way, before this all happened, for the most part, I certainly liked his early work. And I like Rock's stand-up, his work, the quality of his writing. None of this reached the level of equating, not that anything can, but to the zone of violence at all. Like it was so over the fucking top. So let's be real clear. That's a big no-no. You don't strike somebody for telling a joke, especially on a night when you're winning an award for being, when you're up for best actor. You don't have problems in the world. And if you deal with it later, if he hadn't struck him, if he'd have walked up there and just said, take it back, the impact would have all been on Chris Rock. It would have all been on Chris Rock if he'd have just said, how fucking dare you? Even if he swore. But the minute he struck him, whole different game. It's not about what was said anymore. It's not even about Jada. It's about him. It's about his ego or his fear.
Why didn't you apologize?
Really? Yikes.
To Chris in your acceptance speech? I was fogged out by that point. It's all fuzzy. I've reached out to Chris.
Okay, so this is edited like fucking crazy. So he could have done I've been doing a lot of personal work and I wanted to answer some questions. These are some of the questions you posed. And he's acting like he's reading them for the first time, which is not how you would do this. You would pick the ones that you get the most often and people seem to go back to. So reading it like he's never seen it before to make it appear fresh is a lie.
And the message that came back is that he's not ready to talk.
Oh, it's his fault then.
And when he is, he will reach out. So I will say to you, Chris, I apologize to you My behavior was unacceptable, and I'm here whenever you're ready to talk.
He doesn't ever have to be ready to talk. Anybody that you physically assault doesn't have to be ready to talk with you. It's not on him. He doesn't ever have to be ready to talk. You apologize. You say what you did was unacceptable, and that's where it goes. You can even say, I hope someday we can speak and I can clear it with him so that he knows I really mean it. But once you say, whenever you're ready to talk, what the fuck is wrong with you? No. It is not Chris Rock's responsibility to reach out to a person who struck him.
I want to apologize to...
Whoops. I want to apologize. Trump does this. We talked about this before. He did it right with saying it to Chris. He said, I apologize. And he said that that's scripted. He'd written that out. They were going to say that. Once he says, I want to apologize, then it's back on him. Now it's back to, I want to apologize because I'm the kind of guy who apologizes when he's wrong and you should like me for that. In these situations, I apologize to Chris. I also apologize to ... And you finish it there. You don't go, I want to apologize to. Trump does this the same way. I want to thank... It's linguistically, it's real easy. To Sam, Jerry, your wife Claire, and everybody here at the organization, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate more than you know the work that you have done. Not, I want to thank Sam and his wife and Claire and everybody who worked here. I was thinking about it this week because I'm the kind of guy who thinks about how thank yous are lovely. Thank you, Mask Man. What? Thank you, Mask Man. Thank you, Mask Man. God damn it, I like that. Say that again, kid. Thank you, Mask Man. Thank you, Mask Man. Help, Mr. Lone Ranger, help. You got to get the fuck off, you people. I'm getting the thank yous right now. I'm getting it. Thank you, Mask Man. I'm going to put it in a book. I'll get a thank you, Mask Man book.
Chris's mother. I saw an interview.
Oh, you want to thank her? Go ahead. Or you want to apologize to her?
That Chris's mother did. And, that was one of the things about that moment. I just didn't realize...
that there are other people in the world?
I wasn't thinking, but how many people got hurt in that.
Not just how many people got hurt, how many people are going to fucking get hurt.
Moment.
You do not green light violence with your actions either. You, especially when you're that famous, holy shit. And people look up to you like that, whether you like it or not, you set a standard for behavior for other fucking people.
So I want to apologize to...
Oh, yeah, he wants to apologize. He's not going to, but he wants to.
Chris's mother. I want to apologize to...
Then do it.
Chris's family, specifically Tony Rock. We had a great relationship,
Until I struck his brother on national television.
Tony Rock was my man.
For a joke.
And this is probably irreparable.
Probably. Oh, why? Because is it Tony's fault? It isn't, by the way. It is not Chris Rock's mom or his brother's responsibility to repair this.
I spent the last 3 months replaying and...
As you would.
Understanding the nuances and the complexities of what...
Of not slapping somebody? The fuck are you talking about? There's no nuance and complexity. You hit somebody. It's pretty fucking simple.
Happened in that moment.
There was no nuance and complexity. There wasn't. Quit it. Again, all he had to do, if he'd have said everything he said, if he'd have walked up there and said, say you're sorry, there would have been a funny moment between the two of them. There would have been an apology afterwards. There would have been this conversation on fucking the red carpet about, well, do you think you went a little too far? And wow, it seemed there was a lot of tension between you and Chris, and he's a good friend, and I blah, blah. You fucking hit someone.
And I'm not going to try to unpack all of that right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, I appreciate that as someone watching the video. I mean, you know, being considerate of your time.
But I can say to all of you, there is no part of me that thinks that was the right way to behave in that moment.
Now, honey, baby, look, I know it hurts, but I love you. Look, it's, you know, it's not what I wanted to do. It's just you made me so upset. Like, this just reeks of that stuff.
There's no part of me that thinks that's the optimal way.
We ain't talking about optimal, dummy. That's acceptable. Optimal, this is when people do this shit, this is the other thing I hate. When you're having a legit conversation about somebody's issues or their behavior, or whether you deserve an apology for how they treated you in a relationship, and their response is, look, I'm okay, fine, I'm not perfect. I'm like, we're not talking about perfect, asshole. We're talking about baseline, like, general human to human contact. You don't have to be perfect to not do that.
To handle a feeling of disrespect.
Oh, now it's his fault again.
Or insults.
Mm-hmm. We're back to Chris disrespected him. And he insulted him.
After Jada rolled her eyes, did she tell you to do something? No.
Okay, this is the part that Jada's making him say. Legally.
It's like, you know, I made a choice on my own.
Based on previous experiences.
From my own experiences, from my history with Chris, Jada had nothing to do with it. I'm sorry, babe. I'm going to say sorry to my kids and my family for the heat that I brought on all of us.
Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't say I want to say sorry. He said I'm say sorry. Like he fumfered that for the heat I brought on all of us.
To all my fellow nominees.
Oh God, this is such an honor.
You know, this is a community. It's like I won because you voted for me, and
you didn't give the other nominees don't vote for you. The members of the Academy do. All the schlubs like me. People who've done movies but don't expect some sort of Oscar for scenes in Spider-Man 2 and Dude, Where's My Car? Although, quite frankly, there's a reason I would say that we can expect, or we should be able to expect, I think. Get back up here. I'll have to drag this down. Sometimes you deserve the Oscar, and and yet you're only going to ever be, until you're really old, like in my case. I'll win an Oscar. Don't get me wrong. It's going to happen, but I'll be 85, and it won't be one of these lifetime achievement things. It's going to be for something I actually do at that age. But the people who vote for you to get the Oscar are not the other people who are also nominated. It's all the actors who fucking work for a living. It's all the rest of us, the ones who don't get Oscars. The 98% of the people who vote for you, who are performers, for people to get Oscars, are never going to get a role that will be up for an Oscar. Much less, God knows they might deserve it, but it doesn't mean they're ever going to even get cast in it.
It really breaks my heart to have stolen and tarnished your moment. I can still see Questlove's eyes. You know, it happened on Questlove's award, and
Yeah, and everybody else's show, but sure, okay.
you know, it's like I'm sorry really isn't sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to the people who looked up to you before the slap, or people who expressed that you let them down?
Or to the black comedians in particular whose lives are now in danger because you basically pulled down the invisible fence between audiences and performers and allowed violence to be an answer to somebody who feels disrespected in a comedy club, you know, where, you know, like fucking Chappelle had somebody run on stage after this shit.
So there's two things. One, disappointing people is my central trauma.
Disappointing people is his central, I think, not sensual, central trauma. Fuck me. What? You know what? Being struck in the face by the winner of Best Actor of the evening is Chris Rock's current central fucking trauma. Jesus. Rudy Giuliani must be the therapist. This is all Scientology? Yeah. If it is, it's goofy as shit. I've never heard any lack of culpability or lack of responsibility from Tom Cruise in any of his weird shit over the years. I'm just saying. I don't know. Honest to God, I don't know their system, and I don't care. This seems personal. Like I'm not even willing to put this off on that weirdo thought process.
I hate when I let people down.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry we all made you feel bad. We won't bring it up. Guys, can everybody stop bothering Chris? He feels you're triggering his sensual trauma.
So it hurts.
Now, why do I feel like I owe him an apology?
It hurts me psychologically and emotionally to know I didn't live up to people's.
It hurts me. Again, talk about listen to the language in this. This is how not to do it. It's a great lesson. Otherwise, I wouldn't give a rat fuck about this. But this is a great lesson in how not to apologize.
Image and impression of me. And
oh, okay. What?
People's image and impression of me. And the work I'm trying to do is I am deeply remorseful, and I'm trying to be remorseful without being ashamed of myself.
Oh, no. Oh, I'm sorry. No. That's also, ladies and gentlemen, some people will tell you this bullshit that never regret things because the things that happened made you who you are. Well, some of the time, what makes you who you are is regret because it teaches you not to do this shit over and over again. And if you do something you should be ashamed of, feeling shame is part of not doing it again, especially when it's physical violence. You fucking should be ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself. Say it. There's more shame in not feeling shamed. That's why we have a word, shameless.
Right? I'm human. And
that's the other one. Fuck. I'm not perfect. I'm human. That kind of bullshit. You hear people in arguments. Nobody's questioning your humanity, asshole. They're questioning your irresponsibility. They're questioning your adulthood. They're questioning your ethics and morality. Not the fact that you are a Homo sapien, for fuck's sake.
I made a mistake, and
no. You didn't make a mistake. You committed an act of violence. You didn't slap the wrong person. You slapped somebody for something that was said. That you get me?
I'm trying not to think of myself as a piece of shit.
Why? Sorry, dude. None of us get to skip that. A bunch of us have gone through moments in life. If you give a shit about your behavior, you've thought of yourself as a piece of shit if you've done anything outside your ethical circle. If you've acted violently or... Yeah. That was a shitty thing to do. And I'm a piece of shit for what I did. I'm going to do the work myself to not be shitty anymore. And that's not on Chris Rock, and that's not on his family. That's on me. Nobody is responsible for this act but me. And I am ashamed of myself. And there's a lot of stuff I'm going to have to do to make up for it so that I can deal with that shame and earn my way out of it. Does that make sense? This is all about how we're making Will Smith feel bad.
So I would say to those people, I know it was confusing. I know it was shocking.
Oh, this is like, kids watch me, kids look up to me, and kids saw me do that, and I know it was confusing, but it was really complex.
But
it wasn't confusing. It was shitty.
I promise you, I am deeply devoted and committed to putting light and love and joy
and jargon and words and rubber stamping, feely, good word, hippie thing on good, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy, happy, joy, joy, happy
into the world. And
oh, now when you're gonna start now?
You know.
No, I don't know.
If you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
Why again? This is the end of this fucking thing. I don't know what else he says. There's like seconds left in this. If you hang on. If you hang on. I don't know Will Smith. I don't know what his fucking deal is. But this ain't how you do it. And it is, and if any of us can get anything out of this, it's learning how that there's nothing shameful in owning shame. Only in dodging it. If you want to apologize, fucking apologize. Say, I apologize for this. I was on this Art of Fatherhood podcast, and I talked about this thing that I do with, I did with Cam growing up, and he's such a good human. And it was just it was something I came up with that because I noticed other kids, when they would act out or they would have these moments of, they would kick somebody in the shins or be kind of a dick. And, kids go through phases like that. And I was like, how do I get my kid to recognize and associate, the awareness of that bad behavior with how to solve it and how to take responsibility for it. And so I have this thing where if Cam does something wrong, and when he was little, I'd say to him, go over and apologize, tell them what you did. Say, I apologize for this, whatever it was. I apologize for grabbing that out of your hand, or I apologize for smacking your hand or biting or whatever it was. I apologize for that. Listen to what they say and then come back and tell me what they said. And so he would go over and he would say, I'm sorry I kicked you very much and I love you. And then he would come back at me, or he'd say, I'm sorry I kicked you. And they would say, it's okay, just don't do it again, or I forgive you, or whatever it was. And then he would come back and he would say to me what they had said, all of it. And then I would say, don't do it again, or we'd talk a second about that. And then I would finish it by saying, I love you, and giving him a hug. And that, because he wouldn't just say, because kids will sometimes do an apology where like, go say you're sorry, like, I'm sorry, but they never say what they're sorry for. And you have to attach the apology to the action itself. And you can't namby-pamby your way around. I want to apologize. I want to say, I want to say, I'm not going to. I want you to know that I'm the kind of person who wants to apologize. No. I'm here because I need to say something to this person watching and the other people watching. I am sorry for what I did. I have no excuse. And it was a shameful act, and I am disgusted with myself. And I want you to know I'm aware that what I did was wrong. I am desperately sorry that I lowered myself to that level, and it will never happen again. You have no responsibility to forgive me, and nor will I ask you for that forgiveness. I just need you to know that I'm aware that I did something wrong. To everybody else who was watching, who was witness to it, to you, I'm sorry. You didn't need that, and I was wrong to put you in a situation where you had to even watch that. I have no idea, nor did I at the time, if any of you had any other traumas or violence that had happened to you. And to even act like that in front of you was a wanton disregard for civilization around me at the time, and it won't happen again. To you also, I genuinely apologize, but I will not ask for your forgiveness. That is up to you. I will work on myself because I require it, because what I did was shitty. I'm ashamed of myself. And know that I'm aware of it. And that I will never act that way again. That would do it. That would do it. That ain't this. Listen to this last sentence.
If you hang on, I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
Why? Why do they have to hang on? I don't think so. What? That's it? Holy shit. That's the tail end of that?
I promise we'll be able to be friends again.
And they just fade it out. Ugh. What? And what's?
Mm-hmm.
Again, this whole shit at the beginning where there's like a conversation, the fact that he's on effectively a set, especially in this day and age where you could just take your phone and put it in a case and go, hi, I'm talking to you from my phone. Everybody's away. I need to do this alone. And say this. Ugh. This kind of shit. I mean, it's not that surprising. I mean, to apologize like that, you'd have to be the kind of person who would walk up on stage and slap somebody for a joke you knew was coming that was not meant in harm. There is no one who looked at in anybody there at the Oscars or anybody watching at home that wasn't, in the fringes of the world that didn't think Jada looked beautiful. Shaved head and all. Didn't matter. Why would it? Honest to God. And a G.I. Jane joke, Demi Moore looked fantastic. It was it's not the kind of thing, it wasn't a Dr. Evil joke. It wasn't a fucking Lex Luthor joke. It was, it's just fucking silly. And the idea that it would deserve, that any joke deserves violence is absurd. This was meant to be a protective act. You can even look at the physical gesturing that's going on in this. There's some acting, but then there's some
of myself with.
There's a bunch of looking away when it gets difficult, except when I want to tell you, when the word I is said, right down the fucking barrel. But when the apology part happens, dude, I bet Scott, the body language expert, holy shit, he'd have a field day with this. Yeah, the Russell Brand School of YouTube views. You're not wrong. If he's a good actor, why couldn't he pull this off? Because he's good at certain things, but not everything. And when he does do it, it's totally different when you're doing it as a character. It's like, and it depends on which emotion, tears sell, angers, tears and anger are the way people know that you're doing genuine acting, even though they're not the hardest emotions by any stretch. I can cry on cue and I can make an audience cry if I want to. Anybody can fucking do anger based on almost any material. You can't pull some anger up in you and fucking use it. See what I mean? It's not hard. You know what the hard emotions are? Joy, elation, happiness, laughter. When it's not real, you have to make it happen. That's the work. You must project to the back row. Right. To be a master thespian. And pushing that on audience members, that skill. That's sometimes where you do it. You edge towards tears and then you pull back and let the audience cry for you. There's part of that. Thanks, Joey. I sometimes do that to stabilize my upper back and make sure I'm sitting upright. Because if I put my arms down on the table, I lean forward to it. I need to raise this whole thing up. I need a standing desk. That's the next phase. But, he doesn't want to be sued. Acting. Thank you. Right. Trump said Biden has dementia, not COVID. That was his response to the whole, his little Truth Social thing. Doesn't matter. The point I would like to make is that when you're looking at these kind of videos, or when you see some, a politician or an actor or someone in the public square, or I don't know, if you ever see somebody who's on trial for something come out and say stuff, that you look at what they're saying for the words that are actually coming out of their mouths, because it matters. I'm trying to get by the way, this is me looking at the chat room. I just moved it up. So that you guys don't think I'm just kind of, this is where I'm looking at you when you guys are talking. Amber Heard was a great example of it. That is manipulative tears. It's a mess. And again, you have people, people who are a mess can pull up real stuff too. Diane says Cal Rittenhouse. I think that was genuine. Because I don't think he expected it. I think he was a mess. killing someone or being around someone who dies is traumatic, whether or not you were planning it or you expected it or not. It's why, by the way, it's why a lot of like school shooters end up doing themselves in, because the reality of it didn't match the fantasy, and the heartbreak of seeing someone pass away is too much. But when it goes, when it comes to this kind of an apology, the important thing is, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you have to apologize, just do it. It's always going to be better for everyone involved if you give an honest apology, if you're capable of it. And I believe most of the people who watch my show are, with some regularity, even the maggots, even the trolls. This even applies to you. You might find yourself in a situation where you're talking to, you've hurt a family member through your actions, your activity, or whatever. If you're going to apologize, don't say you want to say you're sorry or you want to apologize. Just fucking say it. Say what for. I'm sorry I did this. Never make it about the other person accepting your apology. It's not their fucking fault that you did what you did, and it is not their responsibility to come around and, and understand what you were going through. Fuck that. As a matter of fact, the more you let them off the hook, the more meaningful your apology is. And end it without an ask. No, like, I hope you can understand that I hope one day we can. No. They will reach out when they fucking reach out. And if they never do, tough shit. That's the price of doing something wrong. So yeah, never put the cost at the end of an apology. And that's what he did that like 4 times in that video. So when someone invariably shares this video with Will Smith, dude, you need to reshoot the ending. We got a couple of pickups you're going to need to do before release next time. And the work you need to do on yourself includes, and this goes for all of us who ever do anything wrong, is never making what we did wrong, not our mistakes, not our imperfections, our, it's, none of that shit. The things we do wrong, to take responsibility for them, to make amends for them, and to never make it the fault or the responsibility of the person who was wrong to ever come back to us. In a lot of ways, even if you put most people will forgive you if you put pressure on them to do so, because most people lean that way. And that in its own way is taking advantage of a civil and cultural norm that you obviously have broken, or you wouldn't be apologizing in the first fucking place. I mean, you guys know me. If somebody yells at a fucking waiter around me, I'm done. Much less fucking strike somebody for that. Jesus Christ. So the like I said, the only thing that ever has any value in any of this, like in any celebrity gossip, is when you look at it and you go, well, in that situation, I'd have done this, and this is the way you do it. Or I would have never been in that situation in the first fucking place. Only value it has. None of us are gonna, I mean, I might end up bumping into Chris Rock at some point in my life in the near future. That wouldn't be surprising. There's even a slight chance that I might see Jada Pinkett or one of the kids at something. I don't know that I'm ever going to interact with Will. But I now know, having watched this, that if there's any difficulty, professional or personal, between me and this person, that I have to be on the lookout that this dude's apologies don't mean shit. And that's a shame. But again, the rest of, everybody else, including me, like I said, the chances of me, interacting with him in any way is, although considering the failed comedian C-lister that I am, that according to TYT, maybe he loses his career and on his way down, we pass each other on a film or something. That there you go. That would be, that the one part of it. There's possibility. It's like ending up in a movie with James Woods. It might be good for you on the way up, but it's not good for him on the way down. He ended up in a lot of movies with people like that. So the only way it'll benefit any of us is if we all look at this and recognize, if I ever found myself crossing my own ethical or moral line in a way that caused certainly violence in this way, I now have the tools or the knowledge or the awareness, which I can never take back. Once you know it, you can't unknow it, that is not how you apologize. That is not how you take responsibility. So, anyways, on that note, I'll let you guys go. I went a half hour over. It kind of ended up being, this is closer to like the morning show in a lot of ways. It was a good conversation, though, I hope, and worth talking about. We've discussed this with some politicians over time, and I would categorize this in the realm of people using the word outrageous, which we see a bunch. You know what I'm talking about? That being said, I mean, I honestly don't find anybody in my audience is going to be in this moment, but even on a small scale, try to avoid the whole I want to thank or I want to apologize language, and that's a good start. Yeah. Anyways, I adore you guys. I will see you tomorrow, and take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. All right. I'll see you later.